Hello there and welcome back to another video. I hope your Monday is as good as possible, and I certainly hope that you had a very good weekend as well, whatever you were doing, whatever you were up to. So we're going to kick off with a couple of things today. We're going to talk about the Bundesliga, we're going to talk about some Premier League clubs also giving some refunds back to their fans, but we have to talk about something that happened last night, and it was reported last night, late hours of last night. Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea, he is arrested after an alleged row with a model during a lockdown breach. Now, there were some people online saying that he's physically harmed this woman. The reports don't say that at all. All it says is that the England international, who was 19, was arrested by Metropolitan Police in the early hours of Sunday morning at his West London apartment after officers investigated a call from a woman in question. Now, the report says is that they were called to his house on Sunday the 17th of May at 3:53 in the morning to a report of an unwell woman. Hudson-Odoi has been spending lockdown at home with professional football in England suspended because of the coronavirus pandemic. It does not say anything about physical harm or anything like that. So I don't know if that's something that online people have just made up, but never believe everything that you read online. Try and take some things with the facts that are presented to you. Don't try and assume that, oh my god, an unwell woman is unwell woman, he must have beaten her or something like that. Now, if that does come out and be true, and that he has physically harmed this woman or anything like that, he should be banned from football. Should absolutely be banned from football and should be made an example of as well. But he's following suit of people that are older than him and have broken these rules already. We've seen Kyle Walker having a sex party in his house. Kyle Walker's 29, 30, something like that. He's an experienced player, been in Premier League, been in the spotlight for a long, long time. He's an idiot. He's still breaking the lockdown rules. He's an absolute idiot for doing stuff like that. You got the Arsenal players, what was it, David Luiz, Lacazette, Xhaka, and someone else, Pepe, I think it was. They broke lockdown rules, not all together. Some of them were together, but not all of them. They weren't at the same time. Stuff like that. Lacazette, again, is getting headline news for, inhaling balloons or whatever, like nitrous oxide and stuff like that is. If that dude wants to do nitrous oxide, let him. If it doesn't bother him, if it doesn't affect him physically or anything like that, I don't know what the implications of that are. But it's not really the major headline news at the moment with the pandemic going on. There's a lot of other things that you can focus on, really, but obviously because he's a Premier League footballer, he's in the spotlight, he's meant to be a role model, all this sort of business. There's been plenty of other, things that have happened as well, like players breaking lockdown rules and stuff like that. Hudson-Odoi is just the latest one and probably the youngest one as well. He's not doing anything worse than Kyle Walker. He's not even doing anything that's on the same level of what Kyle Walker did either at the moment, as far as we know right now. Callum Hudson-Odoi is a young lad who is being given a lot of money for not doing a great deal. He's a great prospect. That is all he is at the moment. He's a great prospect, a great young lad, and he just hasn't backed any of that up right now. He's not, hitting the ground running at Chelsea or anything like that. He could have got a move to Bayern Munich, but he didn't go and probably won't go now because what has he done to earn it? But you get the likes of Piers Morgan on that, like to jump on these stories really, really quickly. Piers Morgan is one of the mouthiest, most unpleasant people to be famous. He really is. He's got a very vocal, sometimes disgusting opinion about stuff, and he's got a big social media presence as well. So that doesn't help. He's got a horde of following, like that. Just they believe everything, and they go by everything that he says, and like it's gospel. He is calling for, when football returns and everything like that, Hudson-Odoi should be banned from football. Shouldn't be allowed to play football at all. You've got to wait for the details to come out of what has happened with this woman. Was she just unwell? Let's not forget, Callum Hudson-Odoi was one of the first players to test positive or have the symptoms or have the coronavirus. He was one of the first footballers in this country to have it. So whether she was just unwell, is he still carrying that disease or anything like that? We don't know. We don't know the details of it all right now, but that is why the lockdown was put in place. That is where he's been negligent in his mind. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. I'm not saying that he should be banned. If he's done anything physical to this woman, yeah, he should be banned and made an example of. Shouldn't be allowed to play football again. But if it's just, I say just, I don't mean just. But if he's broken the lockdown and having a woman at his house when she shouldn't have been there, then yeah, he should be punished, but not banned, in my opinion. But let me know what you think of the whole situation there. Footballers just in this country anyway, with the return of the Bundesliga, I haven't heard any apart from a coach for one of the teams. Can't remember who the team was. Apart from a coach being banned from the game because he broke lockdown rules to go and get some toothpaste or gel or something like that. Other than that, Germany have been very, very good with their players, like in terms of like German clubs and keeping their players in, you know, abiding by the lockdown and stuff like that. Premier League players, I don't get it. I don't get why you can't. I don't get why you can't do it. And it's definitely not all players. It really isn't all players. But I just don't understand why you can't listen and just abide by this current lockdown. I don't get it. Let me know what you think of the whole situation with Hudson-Odoi. Is there any information that I've missed that I haven't seen? Because it is still quite a brand new story for the morning anyway. Now, we're going to kick off and look at the Premier League teams that are not giving away, they're giving refunds for their season tickets so far. Everton, Manchester City, Norwich and Brighton are giving refunds of the remaining home games at least. I keep seeing it in articles saying home games. I don't know if it means away games or anything like that. And I'll be totally honest with you, I'm not entirely sure how the season ticket system works, whether you have to have a separate season ticket for home games, separate one for away games, or whether it's combined or whatever. But it definitely says home games. Remaining home games will be refunded in one way or the other, which I think means you can either get a monetary refund and have that back into your account or given back to you, or credits towards another season ticket down the line as well, which is just great. It actually really is good, and I definitely hope more teams in the Premier League and around the English game, if they can afford to do it, if they're not in a team that's in dire situations like lower leagues and such like that as well. I definitely hope that more teams, especially the Big Six, Liverpool included in that, will be giving refunds for the season tickets, because there's going to be no audiences, no crowds at the games if they're played out, under these current, restrictions that we've got right now. So they are setting a good example of what they should be doing for the fans, especially with the financial situation for some fans right now. It's not easy. It's not easy not knowing. For those that have either already lost their jobs unfairly, which is just horrific and awful, or whether they're on furlough or whatever it is, and maybe they're a bit like me, who's been furloughed and their employer doesn't really contact them. I don't know what else to say. There's probably not a lot else I can say, to be honest. But yeah, I hope that other Premier League clubs really do take the opportunity to do that and reimburse their fans, because it's a very vital financial time for the vast majority of people involved in watching football. So that is some good news to hear anyway. And the other good news was, I felt that the Bundesliga came back and did very well. A lot of people are complaining that, oh my god, it's a dead atmosphere, it's not even like a pre-season friendly, it's a deader atmosphere than that. You can't please everyone. You really can't please everyone. For me, if I'm watching football at home or anything like that, I don't watch football with the sound on. I don't like commentators particularly, whether they're the BT Sport team, the Sky team, whoever, BBC team, ITV team, or whoever else it might be. I don't like commentators. I like my thoughts about the game to be completely unbiased, so I watch it without the sound on, because there isn't an option to turn the commentary off and just listen to the crowd in normal situations. So I watched a little bit of it with commentary on and sound on, just to see what the feel of the games were like. But in my opinion, I felt that the action was very good. There was a team that made 5 substitutions. I can't remember what it was, or who it was. But yeah, so we'll run down the results of what happened. One of the games that I watched was Dortmund versus Schalke, which I think a lot of people were watching anyway because of it's Dortmund. It's normally going to be action-packed, and it certainly was. Dortmund beat Schalke 4-0. Haaland got on the score sheet. Julian Brandt ran the show. Really, really did. Rafael Guerreiro, who I thought was a fullback but seemed to play everything but a fullback. Very impressive performance by them. Once they got going, they just didn't stop. I think Thorgan Hazard also scored as well. So that was a very impressive performance. Some games that I didn't get to watch because they were on at the same time as Dortmund versus Schalke were Augsburg versus Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg won 2-1. Dusseldorf versus Paderborn was 0-0. Leipzig dropped points against Freiburg 1-1. I saw some highlights of that and it just seemed like Leipzig just couldn't get going. Hoffenheim lost 3-0 to Hertha Berlin, which is where Marco Grujic, is that his name? Marco Grujic, who is on loan from Liverpool. That's who he plays for. I can't remember if he played that game or not, but still impressive victory nonetheless. And Hoffenheim is where Roberto Firmino came from. So, and same as Joe Linton as well from Newcastle. And the other game that I did get to see bits of, because there was just a little bit going on here, was Mönchengladbach versus Frankfurt. Mönchengladbach won that game 3-1 in a very impressive performance, with Frankfurt really only getting their only goal past the 80th minute. So it was a very comprehensive performance by Mönchengladbach as well. Puts them right back into the title figure as well. Cologne versus Mainz was 2-2. Impressive, to be honest, because Cologne really took over that game at first. All the way through the game, Mainz looked really threatening, but Cologne just took a 2-0 lead, and it was just it was like one of those games where Mainz were going to attack, and they attacked like fast and physically, but they just couldn't get that end product, and then defensively they just sort of fell apart a little bit, but they fought back into the game very impressively, and the game finished 2-2 overall. Probably a fair result overall, if anything. And then Bayern Munich beat Union Berlin, who I think are like bottom of the league, 2-0. Lewandowski with a penalty and Benjamin Pavard with a header as well. In some parts of this game, Union Berlin had some good passing moves as well, but they just got overwhelmed by a very, very strong Bayern Munich team led by Lewandowski. Very impressive as well. And then obviously this evening we have Werder Bremen versus Leverkusen. Now Leverkusen are the team that I am choosing to follow a little bit more. I think they're 5th place right now. I think Werder Bremen are 17th in the Bundesliga. And if it goes anything like the Premier League, hopefully it's a competitive game. But if it's like La Liga or something like that, and 17th is coming up against 5th, maybe it's not going to be that competitive. But we'll see what happens tonight. That is at 7:30. I will be watching it on BT. If any of you have BT, or however you manage to obtain watching the game. But it's been really good to see football come back in some form. Some people aren't bothered because it's the German league and they're just like, well, it's not English football, don't care. Some people are very vocal. I will not watch football if there are no fans and such like that. I guarantee you, probably about 95% of people that say they will not watch football if the Premier League comes back will watch it on TV when it comes back. Honestly. Genuinely. I'm not even going to turn around and lie to you. As soon if the Premier League is announced and it comes back and it starts, games, first thing that I'll be looking for is when are Liverpool playing. I am desperate to watch my team play. I am desperate to watch Liverpool play. I really am. I miss so much watching Premier League football. I enjoyed the Bundesliga, but I've got no actual attachment to the teams. But I am desperate to see my team play. I really am. And more so than anything, I just hope that it's done properly and safe. I cannot emphasise that more than I already do. I want it to be perfectly good and safe. That is the first and foremost thought in my mind. Has to be. If it's not, football can't come back in this country. Now people will be saying, but Bundesliga have brought it back already. I mentioned in a video last week, might have been Friday's video, is that Germany's government have been way better at handling this pandemic than our government have in this country. That's why they've been able to put the measures in place very, very quickly. There was even one game, I can't remember who it was, whether it was Dortmund or whoever, had their water bottles set out in their team's formation, just on the side of the pitch. Had the water bottles set out in their formation so that no player drank another person's water. Just little things like that you just think, wow, I don't think anyone in this country would have thought of that. I don't know. I want the Premier League back, like, more than anything. I've enjoyed watching the UFC. I've enjoyed watching the Bundesliga, but it just doesn't compare to watching teams that I know about properly and the team that I care about the most. which is Liverpool. But it has to be safe, first and foremost. I think the Bundesliga have gone a long way to show that it can be done, but I think that it's still going to be a little bit too soon for us. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you watch any of the Bundesliga or the UFC over the weekend or anything like that? And will you be watching tonight, Leverkusen versus Werder Bremen? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know about your thoughts about Callum Hudson-Odoi and everything that's going on there, because it doesn't look great, to be honest. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here as well. Thank you ever so much. Have a great Monday, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you later.